There is a version of you that existed before the betrayal, trusting, open, willing to give people the benefit of the doubt, willing to love without a guard up, willing to believe that the people closest to you had your best interest at heart. And then it happened. Maybe it was a friend who shared your secrets, a partner who chose someone else while still choosing you, a business partner who took what you built together and walked away, a family member who smiled to your face and worked against you behind your back. And just like that, that version of you was gone. Not dramatically, not all at once, but quietly over time, you noticed the changes. You became more careful with your words, more selective with your trust, more guarded with your heart, more alert to the small signs you once ignored. Betrayal changed you. And if nobody has ever told you this, that change makes complete sense. It is not weakness. It is not damage. It is your mind and your body doing exactly what they are designed to do, protect you from experiencing that kind of pain again. But here's the question nobody asks loudly enough. How do you heal from something that has already permanently changed you? How do you learn to trust again without being naive? How do you stay open without being reckless? That is exactly what we are going to talk about today. Stay with me. Before we talk about healing, we need to talk honestly about what betrayal actually does, because most people underestimate it. Betrayal is not just an emotional wound, it is a full body experience. When someone you trusted deeply does something that shatters that trust, your brain registers it as a threat. Not a metaphorical threat, an actual biological threat similar to physical danger. Research in neuroscience has shown that social pain, the pain of rejection, humiliation, and betrayal, activates the same regions of the brain as physical pain. This means that what you felt after being betrayed was not you being dramatic. It was your nervous system responding to real damage. And like any injury, if it is not treated properly, it does not heal cleanly. It heals wrong. It heals into hypervigilance, constantly scanning for the next betrayal before it happens. It heals into emotional unavailability, keeping everyone at arm's length, because closeness now feels like a risk. It heals into self-blame, a quiet internal voice that asks what is wrong with me, that people keep doing this. These are not character flaws. These are scar tissue. And scar tissue, while protective, can also limit your movement if you never learn to work through it. Here is the part of betrayal that people rarely talk about: the slow, invisible ways it rewires your behavior long after the event is over. The first change is how you listen. After betrayal, you stop hearing what people say and start listening for what they are not saying. You analyze tone. You read between lines. You notice hesitations. You become a detective in every conversation, looking for evidence of the next deception before it arrives. The second change is how you love. Before betrayal, love was something you gave freely. After betrayal, love becomes a negotiation. You give a little and wait to see what comes back. You test people, sometimes consciously, sometimes without realizing. You hold back pieces of yourself as insurance, just in case. The third change is how you see yourself. This is the most damaging one. Betrayal has a way of making the person who was betrayed feel responsible. Even when the betrayal had nothing to do with your worth, your mind searches for what you did wrong, what you missed, what you should have seen coming. And over time, that search turns into a quiet belief that you are somehow the common denominator in your own pain. That belief is a lie, but it is one of the most convincing lies betrayal tells. The fourth change is how you dream. Before betrayal, you may have had big plans, business ideas you shared freely, relationship goals you talked about openly, dreams you held in common with someone else. After betrayal, dreams become private things. Because sharing a dream with someone who later betrays you feels like the dream itself was contaminated. And so you stop sharing. You stop dreaming out loud. You carry everything alone. Most people understand how to grieve a loss. Someone dies. A relationship ends. Something comes to a natural close. There is a framework for that kind of grief cry, remember? Slowly move forward. But betrayal is different from loss, and it is harder to heal from for one specific reason. Loss is about absence. Betrayal is about presence. The person who betrayed you is often still alive, still existing, still in some cases still in your life or on the edges of it. And unlike death, betrayal comes with a story that keeps replaying because your mind is trying to make sense of something that does not make sense. How could they do this? They knew how much this would hurt me. I trusted them with things I never told anyone else. How do you look someone in the eye and do what they did? Your mind loops through these questions not because you are weak, but because betrayal violates something fundamental, your model of reality. You thought you knew this person. You thought you were safe. The betrayal proved you wrong. And your brain will keep revisiting the moment until it finds a way to reconcile the person you thought they were with the person they turned out to be. That reconciliation, that is where a lot of the healing happens. And it is some of the hardest internal work a person can do. Before we get to what actually heals betrayal, let us be honest about what does not work. Because most people spend years in these patterns before they find their way out. Pretending it did not affect you does not work. Some people respond to betrayal by performing strength, by telling everyone they are fine, by moving fast, staying busy, acting unbothered. This is not healing. This is avoidance dressed up as confidence. And avoidance only delays the damage, it does not prevent it. Revenge does not work. The idea that getting back at someone will bring you peace is one of the great lies human beings tell themselves. Revenge keeps you energetically tied to the person who hurt you. It makes them the center of your story, and it costs you time, energy, and focus that you could be using to build something better. Rushing forgiveness does not work. There is a version of forgiveness that is genuine and freeing. And there is a version that is performative, where you tell yourself and everyone else you have forgiven when you have not actually processed the pain at all. Fake forgiveness does not heal anything. It just buries the wound deeper, where it does more damage quietly. Isolation does not work. When betrayal comes from someone close, the logical response feels like trusting no one, closing off, going it alone. But complete isolation does not protect you. It starves you. Human beings need connection. The answer to broken trust is not no trust. It is better selection. Now let us talk about what actually works. The first step is allowing yourself to feel the full weight of it. Not perform grief, not manage it for public consumption, but actually sit with the pain and let it be as big as it is. Cry if you need to. Be angry if you need to. Acknowledge that what happened was wrong, that it hurt you, and that you deserved better. A wound that is never properly cleaned will never properly close. Give yourself permission to feel this completely before you try to move through it. The second step is separating what happened from who you are. Someone betrayed you. That is a statement about their character, their fear, their selfishness, their lack of integrity. It is not a statement about your worth. It is not proof that you are unlovable or gullible or destined to be hurt. You trusted someone. That was not a mistake. That was courage. What they did with that trust, that is on them entirely. The third step is reclaiming your narrative. For a long time after betrayal, the story you tell about yourself is shaped by what happened. I am someone who got betrayed. I am someone who was fooled. I am someone who trusted the wrong person. At some point, and only you know when you are ready, you have to rewrite the headline. Not in denial, not by pretending it did not happen, but by choosing to define yourself by what you did after it happened. by the strength it took to keep going, by the wisdom you gained about people and trust and your own value. The betrayal is a chapter. It is not the whole book. The fourth step is rebuilding trust slowly and intentionally, not blindly, not desperately, but deliberately. Trust is not something you give all at once anymore. That is okay. Start small. Notice who shows up consistently. Notice whose actions match their words over time. Give access gradually and pay attention to what people do with it. Real trust is built in moments, not declarations. Learn to read the moments. The fifth step is choosing to remain open. This is the hardest one. After deep betrayal, closing yourself off feels like the only logical response. But a life lived completely closed is not a protected life. It is a half-life. You were not made to go through this world alone, behind walls, trusting no one. You were made for real connection. And real connection requires the willingness to be vulnerable even after you have been hurt. The goal is not to become someone who cannot be hurt again. The goal is to become someone who can be hurt and choose to keep living and loving anyway. That is not weakness. That is one of the most powerful things a human being can do. Here is what I want you to hold on to as we close this out. The person you become after surviving betrayal is not broken. They are not damaged goods. They are not someone who missed their chance at trust or love or genuine connection. They are someone who has been tested in one of the hardest ways a person can be tested and kept going anyway. On the other side of healed betrayal, there's a version of you that is wiser about people, more discerning, more selective, less willing to give access to those who have not earned it, more fiercely protective of your peace. There is a version of you that loves differently, not less, but better, with clearer eyes, with firmer ground to stand on, with a deeper understanding of what real loyalty looks like, because you now know exactly what it does not look like. There is a version of you that carries a kind of quiet strength that people can feel the moment they are around you. Not hardness, not bitterness, strength. The kind that only comes from surviving something that was supposed to break you. Betrayal changed you, yes, deeply, permanently in some ways, but change is not always destruction. Sometimes what feels like it is tearing you apart is actually tearing away everything that was never meant for you, the people who were not real, the trust that was never safe, the version of yourself that needed to be protected but did not know it yet. You are still here, and that means the story is not over. The best chapters are still ahead, but only for the ones who choose to keep turning the pages. If you have been carrying the weight of a betrayal that you have never fully healed from, I want you to hear this. You are allowed to heal completely, not partially, not just enough to function, completely. You are allowed to trust again, to love again, to dream again without fear that someone is going to take it from you. You are allowed to look back at what happened, acknowledge how much it changed you, and still decide that it does not get to write the rest of your story. The betrayal happened. It was real. It hurt in ways that are hard to explain to people who have not experienced it. But you are more than what was done to you. You are what you chose to do afterward. And choosing to heal, choosing to stay open, choosing to keep going, choosing to build something beautiful out of something painful, that is one of the bravest decisions a human being can make. Make it. If this video reached something deep in you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And if you are new here, welcome. Subscribe and hit the bell notification. We go deep on healing mindset and becoming who you were always meant to be. See you next tomorrow.